Hi.
You, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry about that. I've got to be back late from Marv. So
Okay,
how was your
no
trip?
problem. Great trip, Baruch Hashem.
Okay.
Yeah, saw my family, my mother, my sister, all her kids and her grandkids. Had a
Where they
very
all
nice time.
where they all live?
My sister's in Harnof in Yerushalayim, and my mother too. And her she has three married daughters. They live in Ramat Beit Shemesh.
Very nice. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, it worked out great.
All
Baruch
right.
Hashem.
Welcome back to Chutz La'aretz. Um,
Somebody asked me, how was your visit to Israel? I said, no, no, no. I live in Israel. I'm only visiting in
right.
Texas. That gave them a little bit of pause. I
So you should
pointed out, I said, you have to have the proper hashkafa.
right. Absolutely. Okay. I enjoyed. Let's see. This is not swim usually is. So
I
what
have
else?
marked that we're up to Milchamah Kapitel or Parak Ches.
Okay. Let's start recording the screen. Okay. Ches. Nichtam avon shavchei damim. Um, stained is the sin of the people who spill blood. The kings of the land who are the wicked government and those who rouse the land in anger. The land will not be atoned without the blood of this, except by the blood of those who spilled it. That kapara must come. Bitul klali. And what is that big kapara? What is that bedam shavcho? Bitul klali chol mechonos hatarbu shel achshav. The general negation of all the machines of civilization of the present. With all of their lies and all of their treachery. With all of their wicked pollution, and their venomous poison. Any civilization which takes pride in the the sounds, the notes of falsehood, will be eradicated from the world. And instead will rise a kingship of that which is lofty and holy. Oram Yofia, the light of Israel will appear. Chonen Olam Ba'amim Balei Ruach Hadasha, to fix the world in among the nations with uh, um, a make them to make. Sounds like we're making new nations, or nations which have new spirits. With nationalities which will not speak emptiness, and they're no longer evince anger on God and on his anointed one. And on the light of the life of the world, and on innocence, Muna, or Thomas could be also perfection, and Amuna and belief, Asher Libris Olamim, which would be an eternal covenant. Okay, so out of these few 5 lines, 6 lines, the only thing I think I really got, which is concrete, is that the nations of the world will not cease to exist, but they will no longer be based on weak and on all sorts of other bad stuff, but they'll be renewed in a way which makes them as if they're brand new nations. And the Jews will see the repayment of the wicked. Shalom Yisraelim, it will march over the destruction of the Misalim Be'elim Chadoshim, of those who praise the new gods. Kasher Tzara Charabos Babel Bashur, it goes just like it marched on the ruins of Bavel and Ashur and Atikos in the ancient times. Well, I don't think that's actually historically accurate, with all due respect to Rav Kook. I don't think we marched on the ruins of Bavel ever. Bavel might have been ruined, but we didn't march on their ruins. Ashur might have been ruined, but we didn't march on their ruins. Other nations marched on their ruins. So I think it means we will transcend them. We're not necessarily going to march on the ruins. But it's kind of militaristic, Rav Kook, this thing, this vanquishing the nations of the world and marching on the ruins. So therefore, I'm more happy taking it as symbolic. Okay.
It always bothered me, like in the first part of Muna Kol Zeus in Byram. So it says Muna Kol Zeus, and it goes through all these things that we're going to triumph over our enemies, etc., etc. And about half of the tefillah, it tells us about how we're going to go triumph over our enemies, or we have triumphed and we will triumph. And then all of a sudden it says, Yetzias Mitzrayim. The first half of the tefillah does not mention Yetzias Mitzrayim. And then halfway through, it says Yetzias Mitzrayim. And it always bothers me that the only thing that really is ever mentioned in any of our liturgy or our tefillos or anything like that is always only Yetzias Mitzrayim. Except for in Hoidu, the Hal Hagadol in Shachos on Shabbos, so we talk about Sichon and Oig a little bit, but otherwise, it talks maybe about the Canaanim also, but after that, that's it. Any of the wars of David, the conquering that he did, it's never really mentioned in the Tfilos, and or even after that,
I don't think it's because I don't think it's core to Emunah. The tefillas we mentioned in Birchos Creation, especially, we mentioned this you see it sometimes. You see it sometimes core to our Emunah, and to surround Shema Yisrael Shem Elokeinu Shem Echad, we put stuff which is Emunah oriented. It's Yatibem. It's Emunah and focused in Tzias Mitzrayim. There's not a time for Hodah to thank God on all the miracles which He performed for us. That's not this part of davening. As a matter of fact, it's very little davening and usually only associated with the Yom Tovim, which we celebrate these things. But the point of Birchos Kriyashma is certainly not as history lesson. It's only in terms of the correlating the pronouncement of our acceptance of the divinity with backing up our belief in that divinity.
I see.
So this thing Rav Kook is saying is very obviously it's very different. It's talking about the clash of civilizations. The clash of civilizations, saying that Am Yisrael, I have to say that at this point in history, with this war going on long term, I am somewhat despairing of Am Yisrael's place in history at this point being fulfilled in any way, shape, or form, because we don't seem to be going anywhere positive, at least in the short term. But all these years it seems we're making progress for Am Yisrael to have some sort of, maybe this is just my current negativity.
No. When I was in Israel, I did not meet anybody who said, let's make peace, get the hostages. That's a very small, tiny group that may be vocal, but that's not the ruba de ruba of what people are saying. Everybody is like, let's go and finish them off. That's all I heard from religious people, chilonim, everybody. Nobody, b'shum ofen, wants to have anything to do with any Arabs anymore.
So I don't see any great or.
No, I agree. I think the leadership is not there to accomplish this. But that's the sentiment that I got from talking, and I talked to a lot of people. So I don't know. That's just how the feeling that I got from people is that they want to finish them off and be done with these people.
Right, which is I think an impossibility. But besides that, you can learn Rav Kook that way. You can say Rav Kook is saying, let's go vanquish them. Actually, not let's go bash them and smash them, and then it will be like he says here, we'll march on the churvos of our enemies. But it's not the spirit in which we normally think of the spiritual clash of civilizations. But let's go on and see. Then they'll know when they're dead. Then that only in God, the God of Israel, is their salvation. True Hashem to both of all, and the redemption of Hashem will come. Rav Kaplan speaks about, he says, when we're in Golos, we can use a little bit of the spirit of Mechia Samoli. We don't always have to be so docile and so peaceful and so the cowardly, perhaps even. But there's a flip side to that. Rav Kook, yes, we don't have to be docile and cowardly, and we should be perhaps bold and militaristic and sort of extent, but it's not the end purpose. And yet, this here we will go with the the casting away of the power of the goyim. Those who are will drink the cup of poison, or those who drank the cup of poison, I guess, could be read either way. It's got to come. But Hashem opens up his treasure of Yotzias Klezam will remove the tools of his anger. And of Europe and all of its nations will still try to sustain its current status in its character. Lo bamis lo b'tzedakah, not with truth and not with tzedakah. It's Hashem lo yadu, God they do not know. And his pathways they do not want to go through. This is a temporary state which will pass over. So again, Rav Kook was not particularly anti-Arab, and I don't know. Rav Kook would have said, maybe Europe was godless, but the Arabs are godly, and they're not better. They're probably worse. So it's hard to say. It's a toss-up. But but being godless doesn't necessarily get improved by being godly, because the wars which are fought are not just wars of civilization against God. They're wars of this vision of God against that vision of God. And he's not addressing that at all. That's not coming up here.
Well, that wasn't the conflict at the time.
No, it wasn't.
Was this around World War I or
yes, this
before?
World War I. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So that was the war to end all wars, the first mechanized war. The destruction was something that nobody had ever seen before.
Yes,
so it was a new thing. It was a new
right.
era.
Right. So obviously Rav Kook thought that all these terrible engines of war will serve to end war, and then there won't be war. But we've learned since then that you don't need engines of war to wage war. You need very simple tools can wage war, and it can be just as much fervent war as the war with tanks and with planes. Orot Tshuva Yafia Bechrech. The light of truth will necessarily come. So again, I like this. I'm sorry, who am I saying? I like this, but I think that this is what Rav Kook also meant before, that those spirits of the spirit of victory, which he's looking to enjoy, is one which includes an element of tshuva, which must come. And each person will throw away silver and gold gods. Hashem. In the current war, that's not relevant, because they have God, and they pray to God 5 times a day to kill the Jews. So it's a very different type of war. Then the current civilization will be eradicated in all its foundations. All its literature, theatre, all its theaters, all its foundations. So again, you have to be careful what you wish for, because in the void of the literature, the theaters, and the machines, we have something else which doesn't have literature, doesn't have theaters, and doesn't have machines, and is just as terrible.
Somebody said to me when I was in Israel, they said, Europe exchanged 6 million Jews for 20 million Arabs. Do you think they got a good deal?
Yeah,
I think it's correct that in 15 years from now, it will be 30 million Arabs or
right.
more. It's
It's not
really,
Europe.
it's not European anymore.
In a
All of
sense,
the
yes.
teatros and all of that,
Right.
that's
No,
the
Rav Kook.
culture. It's gone. It's gone.
Right.
It's not there
Rav
anymore.
Kook, Rav Kook thought once they're all gone, everything's going to be hunky dory, right? The
Ah,
Messianic spirit will be alive and thriving in the world. It
hmm.
has not happened.
Yeah,
Um,
there's always something that fills the void. There's a
right.
power
Yeah.
vacuum, a lack of culture, let's say, and then something steps in, a different culture.
The Chochim Asher Behevel all you say them, all of the laws or the parameters which are based in Hevel and yeah, Avel. The Cholim Musar Chamarim and all the bad manners of life. V'achatoim koli achlofu. Iskav Hashem levada beyomahu. Tell you, it's caused me anguish to read this. You know,
Yes, it's very difficult.
Ereg, the Ruchani B'Maasi, uh, the weave of spirituality and practice, which in its current formation, could not stop in cultivating Chachma. So with all of the glory of its wisdom, Ba'ad Shefach Damim Rabim, the spilling of much blood, Ba'ad Churban Olam, and destruction of the world, B'tzura Yuma, because us in such a horrible way. Of course, as you said before about World War One. Hare who mochiach al atzmo pasum meikoro. It indicates on itself that it's completely rejected. Zur shoyim irechem. The shoyim are planted from their womb. In other words, they are born with inclinations towards evil. Tomi beten dovrechos, they deviated from the stomach. Those who speak treachery. Meushisi sodo, from the beginning of its foundation, the chom alcho below, and all of its conduct over time. Enoki matzah sheker, it's only accounts of lies, nichle rishoyim mesubachim, and the plotting, the complex plotting of wicked. Which are embedded, linked with the inclinations of the soul and the bodies. Which became empowered by the architecture of the structures of the nations of our time. So again, you can decry the architecture of Europe, but the tents of the Arabs are not necessarily any more wonderful, right? Whatever you don't like about the European architecture, it's not intrinsic. It does not intrinsic evil does not link to architecture. I'm not. When Rav Kook, when he went down the Rehov Yafo, and he saw the Generali building, with the lion on top. That building I'm referring to, where the walk towards the
I
old
don't
city.
know the building, but I believe you.
When you walk down the Rehov Yafo towards the old city, the road splits. The Shlom Tzionah Malka goes to the right, and the Yafo goes to the left. And right in the middle, there's the Generali building, Italian insurance building in the 1930s, which has a big line on the top. And it's like a modern European architecture, modern for the 1930s. So I don't know. Rav Kook saw that as like this horrible, horrible thing. It seems well.
I always wondered about something. We have it as far as I've seen in two places. In Abba Rabba, we say v'soilichenu koimemius liartseinu. We should go koimemius, upright. In other words, we're not crawling like dogs. We should be standing like human beings, like respectable people. And we have it in benching also. I can't remember the Lashon, but it's in benching. I saw it also. And I always said to myself, imagine a guy like in Russia in the 1800s, if he makes 2 kopecks a day, so he's very happy because now his family, he could have a tin of sardines, for 2 kopecks for his 8 kids, So imagine him davening this and saying, Koimemius, I don't care about Koimemius. I'll go crawling. It's fine. Just get me out of here. You know what I mean? The idea of Koimemius, it seems to be very important. And the question is, why? Why? What do I care if I'm crawling or if I'm standing upright at attention like a soldier, respectable? What do I care? I just want to get there. I'm ready to give it up. But you see that there's some Indian of this kind of news that that at the end, when we go to Eretz Yisrael and our Mashiach takes us, so there's going to be some sort of aura or something that Klal Yisrael is going to have that we are the upright nation, that we are koinomios. So, this fits really. Rav Kook had that viewpoint, like we're elevated. People, especially in Europe, in the time when he's writing, they saw the Jews as low and parasites and whatever they called them, vermin. And Rav Kook is saying, no, you think you have your theaters and you have your culture and your libraries and everything. That's nothing. We're going to be koinomios. We're going to be on a different level. It's something different, I think. I
Yes.
think maybe that's part of his
It could
his
be, but
viewpoint.
I don't think he ever defined it for us. I think he left it
No. I'm not saying he said any of this. I'm
right.
just, but
No,
I always wondered about it. Like,
it's very,
there's
very,
some sort of Indian of it that we have to view ourselves in a different light. Even
yes.
why don't we actually even view ourselves as koinomias? So a lot of people, like, they go to the supermarket. They don't go to the yarmulke anymore. People put on a baseball hat. Koinomias. We're Yidden. We should be proud. But this is the way it is.
Dr. Nathan Birnbaum, very famous Baal Tshuva of the 20th century, you say he had a whole reorganization of Orthodox Judaism he proposed, which ultimately didn't come to pass. And his three principles were Das, Rachamim, and Tiferes. Das is the Ben Mokom, Rachamim is the Chabero, and Tiferes is the national character. And Tiferes, he advocated for developing unique forms of art and architecture and aesthetics of all sorts, which are grounded in Yiras Hashem and Avodas Hashem. Nobody never got anywhere, but there is such there was such a concept, which in his writings of, okay, let's find the proper Tiferes, which I think is very similar to what you're calling common meals.
Yeah, I think that as Jews, we don't have a certain self-image, or you don't have a dignity of ourselves. We've been called and treated so badly for so long, and such a long galus, that it's lost. When there used to be gedolim, like people, they would like hard to see, and he would walk through. This Tiferes, like you said, it's a different idea, but we don't have really that anymore.
Right. Okay. Well, he does point this out till the end of the paragraph. He does what you're saying. It seems what he's saying. So the Shich Hashem Kil Yosem, those great structures, of the non-Jewish civilization, they forget Hashem in their innards. Even if they bear the name of God on their lips, b'fiyam, in their mouths, and on their tongues. Okay, so you see, even they use the name of God. Obviously, Christendom did pay lip service, as he says, the name of God, but it's all superficial. Okay, therefore, all the current civilization will be destroyed. And on its I'm not sure what Masosel means here. Masosel means on its bonfires, I guess. On top of its bonfires, he chonein binyan v'olam b'ames v'das Hashem. The true rebuilding the world take place with truth and with knowledge and awareness of Hashem. V'yabachri sayamin nachon yehar beis Hashem b'rosh harim and nisam mikvaos v'noruei love kol hagoyim, and the ultimate expression of the true Jewish architecture with its Tiferes, or its common muse, will be the Beis HaMikdash at the head of all mountains, where all will flow.
Very good.
Okay. Maybe
beautiful
next
words.
Week. Yeah,
beautiful words.
Maybe next week we can relate to it more. Okay.
Okay.
Have a great week.
Thank you very much. Yes, you too. Thanks. Bye.